Oh. Oh, look.
Right.
Oh, but before we can do this, it's a...
I'm going to need a lot of coffee for this one.
Like, seriously, get out. Like, right now.
Are we?
Oh, that's where we play the music then after he says right now.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome back to the Tomb of the Terrible. I am your Uncle Necro, and I'm back from a bit of a stay of my own at my own personal sanitarium. So tonight I am joined by Del and that thing. Friday in Chaos, and Ron. How's everybody doing?
I was great before I watched this movie.
As
we all were.
We're drinking some Pendleton here and some $4 Chuck because we need
not
this.
strong enough. Not strong enough for this movie.
Well, if I drank what was strong enough for this movie, I wouldn't be coherent by the end of this. So
I unfortunately left Halloween Bear in the other room, so we're going to have to go without him tonight. Hello, Matt. Long time no see for everybody. And this is the movie that I decided to come back on. Tonight's journey into self-flagellation is the 2017 movie Amityville Clownhouse. This has nothing to do with clowns, but everything to do with pain. This continues our theme of We Have Amityville at Home style movies. Boy, howdy, this was definitely a movie. Following the devastation of another family at the hands of the Amityville legacy, a possessed item finds its way into the home of a young married couple. Soon, strange noises haunt the home. The husband begins acting in unnatural ways. These are the latest victims of the legendary curse, all stemming from the original gruesome murders over 40 years ago. How many people have, this is their first time watching?
It'll be the last
right
time.
Across the board. Indeed. Now, what we're going to go around and get back to the same old, although Del did a fantastic job of hosting while I was away. Del, what was your first impression of this?
First impression was that I watched at least 2 separate movies instead of 1 movie. And the second impression that I had was really weird because I knew that the toy store was in Lincoln. I did not realize the entire movie was filmed in Lincoln. So watching this movie and being like, I live 10 blocks from there. Oh, that's Sunken Gardens. Oh, that's where my boyfriend used to live. My ex-boyfriend. It was kind of like, just kind of threw me out of things a bit. And I'll leave the rest. We'll talk about that later because this is just first impression. So that's what it. I had a suspension of belief because I was like, I've been there, a number of times. So
Yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop there too. But Friday Chaos, what were your first impressions?
The sound was crap, and I'm wondered why Clownhouse.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Maybe, but Ron, what was your first impression there?
What about you, Chaos, first?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were speaking for both of you. Well, first time back, and already I'm mucking up things. Go ahead.
I had to go back and make sure my system didn't switch movies on us halfway in.
Yeah. So, Ron?
Chaos and I are thinking along the same lines, man. I was really hoping, my first impression was I was really hoping I was watching the wrong movie so I wouldn't have to continue watching it. Wow, this movie was so disjointed. It is a prime example of what not to do when making a movie. It should be taught in theater classes as a bad example of good movie making.
Yeah. My first impression was, what? And then
Right.
as it continued, it kept going,
Huh?
what? And for certain scenes, I was going, what? What did you say? I can't, what? And then it ended.
Mhm.
So, some of the trivia here. This was originally titled Amityville Evil Never Dies. Why it changed it to Amityville Clownhouse, I don't know. As there is maybe a 10-15 minute portion at the beginning where a guy flips out because of a clown painting that allegedly came from the original Amityville house. But then after that, it's never really touched on again. Which, yeah, it kind of seems like 2 movies smooshed together. But that's getting ahead of myself here. This is a sequel to the film The Amityville Legacy, which was released a year prior to this one. Directed and written by the same guy. Co-written and directed by Lincoln, Nebraska's own Dustin Ferguson, who has apparently cranked out over 100 movies since 2007, and it really shows. Now, as Del has mentioned, this movie is set in Lincoln, Nebraska, and the Jesse's junk drawer scenes were filmed in the Toys from the Past store. So if you're in the area, go ahead and check it out. Hello.
Yeah, they're up on about 70th and Van Dorn.
Yeah.
So
and at the strip mall, I believe.
I think so. And they do have a lot of the, it's funny, if you look, when you're watching the scene, he's standing at the cash register and Toys from the Past is on the cash register.
Right.
Well, out in front, they obviously have a sign over that just says Jesse's Junk Drawer. So.
Yeah. The main thing that kind of took me back was the proprietor of Jesse's Junk Drawer is played by Mark Patton, who was the protagonist from A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, believe it or not. So, yeah, that was interesting. Now he's in this. I don't know what happened, but I certainly hope that his career gets kind of a rebound. So, all right. So,
That's nice.
with that thought out of the way, does anybody else have any trivia about this that they ran across before we move on?
The less I know about it, the better.
Okay, fair enough.
In Sunken Gardens, there's a scene where this woman the wife is walking through this beautiful garden area. And if you ever visit Lincoln during the spring and summertime, check out Sunken Gardens. It is huge. People have weddings there. They have like an entire rose garden and a children's indoor play area, but then they have blocks and blocks worth of gardens that are sunk in, and they have steps going down and waterfalls and a koi pond. And it's I know multiple people who've been lost in there for like up to 3 or 4 hours at a shot trying to get out, because usually it's when they go at night, because you get turned around really easily because you're going underneath the streets in some places. And it's just a gorgeous place to go if you have plenty of time and want to see all the different flower displays. Every year they do a new theme. So this year, or the year that this was filmed, I'm not sure exactly when they filmed it, but it was either the Dr. Seuss theme, where they did a lot of flowers and the colors that he had, or Purple Rain, REIGN, that was a lot of purple flowers that they filled the place with. But it is really worth going to check out. Just make sure you can find your way out. Don't go at night because you'll get lost easily.
It is gorgeous. And fun fact, I was going to have my wedding there. Anyway, so wonk, wonk, wonk. Anyway, so we're going to start off with,
one last thing. They when he did there's a scene where he picks up a prostitute, and he did that about 10 blocks from where I live. And that's not actually where you pick up prostitutes in Lincoln. There is a different place, which is also within 10 blocks or so of where I live. But he went to the wrong one. He obviously was like, I don't want to give away the big secret, so we'll just pretend that they hang out in the Haymarket behind old buildings instead of like where they actually hang out. So but I won't tell you where.
The more you know.
Yes, this is. It was filmed in Lincoln. I just had to criticize because I'm like, I know that place. You don't get up there.
Come
Ask
on,
anybody.
you done your...
You're from here, man. You should know.
So,
anyway.
With that thought in mind, in case you're ever in Lincoln, our thoughts exactly. But if you're ever in Lincoln, that's the right place to pick up the prostitute. Just ask around. So, moving along, we're going to tackle probably the shortest portion of the show. What did we like about the movie? So, Del, it's all yours.
Okay, I did like that when they made reference to the actual Amityville house, that they showed pictures from the actual Amityville house. Because I've seen a lot of these, I'm making you guys all suffer because of last week's movie and what it did to me and tore me up inside. And oftentimes they just pick a random house with some window that's different, but not the right windows from Amityville. So they actually did take pictures from the real Amityville house and use those, although that was just the exterior. They had interior things happen that was not in the Amityville house, but that was something I was proud of. And there was another reference that they made, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, they had like 2 references to the actual real Amityville movies. And
well, I know that during the one dream sequence, they used a still from the cover of the Amityville 3D, that monster claw that comes at you. That was ripped directly from that movie poster.
Okay. Yeah, there was something. Oh, the chopping wood. Because because they have like when the one guy's going insane, he's chopping wood in the original Amityville stuff, and it draws attention. And that was So they did those two things, and those two things I kind of went, oh, you're trying at least, kind of.
Yeah.
And that's all I have that was good.
Okay. Friday, what did you like?
What she said, and the gardens are pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, it is,
Josh?
isn't it? Chaos.
Yeah, very.
What did you like?
I like the fish. And in all actuality, as far as towards the movie itself, I actually was kind of intrigued by the first 10 minutes of it and kind of wish they had actually continued on with that.
Right. Right.
It actually started out looking interesting, and then it turned into what the hell it turned into.
Right. I'm in total agreement with that. So, Ron, what did you like?
Yet again, Chaos and I are sharing a brain on the same wavelength because that's precisely what I thought as well. It started out pretty solid because you actually did have a clown, and they set it up with what could have been a good storyline. Even with the kids going into the house to retrieve the painting, I would have liked to have seen that story continued. But the rest of the movie did not play out that way. So just like Chaos said, that first intro sequence with the clown was literally the best part of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, as far as I am concerned, what I liked about this movie was once it got going, I did kind of enjoy the insane grindhouse charm of this in a certain way. It is extremely flawed, but I'll get to that with the next round of questions. And also, this movie was only 75 minutes long, 65 if you don't count the 10 minutes of really, really slow end credits that we were settled with.
Yeah.
So
I fast forwarded through those.
Yeah, at least there was that. So, okay, so that was what we liked about the movie, which means next up, brace yourselves. What didn't we like about the movie?
Okay, first off, photosensitive warning for between the clown and the rest of the movie. There is an old-timey footage of this monkey box and the monkey itself, and it does have a lot of flickers in it. But if you skip watching that part, the rest of it's okay. There's not any issues there. But it's a needlessly, tediously long thing of old-timey footage that just looks at a box and a monkey. Okay, this is going to sound weird, but I think the Foley artist did okay with the sound effects they chose. However, whoever mixed the sound in the end has no idea what they're doing. The soundtracks, particularly inside the house, were exceptionally overwhelming. The dialogue, you could not hear what the people were saying to each other most of the time. It was a matter of lip reading and cranking it and really, really trying to hear what the fuck was going on. I saw people complained about the overuse of recorded bird calls in the sunken garden scene. Actually, that's just Nebraska. We have cardinals and various birds that just won't shut the fuck up. What they should have done is just, since she didn't talk through any of that, but you could hear little kids and other people talking, if they just would have silenced that and run the soundtrack behind her, it would have been fine. That's what Nebraska sounds like in that season. There are just that many fucking birds that won't shut up. It's irritating. Yeah, it was 2 different movies. The monkey didn't do anything that you could ever see. It just existed and was kind of creepy looking, so that was odd. There was that really weird part where he was watching a video by, I believe it was Satanic Panic 81.
Mhm.
That was okay, but what the fuck did that have to do with anything? The guy becoming almost instantly possessed after he gets this toy because he doesn't want the PS4 game. And then like his wife, oh, you're hysterical. After there is some violence. Imagine that. But he beats his wife and then can't see the bruises when he's talking to her. Apparently, through that and through the flashbacks of the person who owned the monkey before him, who is I couldn't figure out who the guy was that was running around telling him to kill his family. I thought it was supposed to be DeFeo, but the grandmother acknowledges him and like smacks him upside the head. So I'm like, okay, I thought he was a hallucination, but he's acknowledged by other members of the family too, at least once in the scene. So that was really confusing because either one of the family members was just running around behind him, all highlighted in red, telling him to kill everybody, and nobody minded, or somehow grandma can see his hallucinations, or he hallucinated grandma smacking his demon upside the head. That part totally lost me. No climax at all. Like there were like some attempts of it. There were people who you see like go into the house and then you never see them again, but there's no hint on whether they just left or if something bad happened to them. They disappear, but it could just be because like the one guy went back to his job and the other lady got her dog and left. But you don't, and like it might not be my, the neighbor comes and visits the wife after everything. Like, I heard screaming, oh God, you looked at, it's true. By the way, it might not be any of my business, but when I was walking by the other day, your attic was glowing red. And then she just lets that drop. It's just like, okay. There were a couple of different attempts, like things that could have been in a storyline, like when she's in the thing and she's drawing out half of the real Amityville window, and then that just goes nowhere. It's just like, oh, she did that, but she didn't show it to anybody or talk to anybody about it. There's no reason that should be in her head. Ta-da. We did something. So yeah, there were just a lot of disappointing moments where I thought something was going to happen and it didn't, or they just made things so confusing as to who actually is doing what and who is seeing what that we were not in the loop on. So I think, yeah, that's about my bit of what I didn't like. So that's most of the movie, but those were specifics.
Oh yeah. So Friday, what didn't you like about the movie?
I cannot compound on what she said because I agreed with all of it.
Right. So chaos.
And it was made.
Yeah.
It was made. Friday from the outside.
The biggest issue was why the fuck did they need to make 2 movies? It was.
Oh, there's more.
The second movie had nothing to do with the name. I know. Oh, you had said that it was technically named something else, but after the name change, it made absolutely no sense. As Dell said, you couldn't hear anybody, and I was sitting in my computer chair, which is literally right on top of a 75-inch TV, and we still had to crank it for me to hear kind of what they were saying in the house. The audio was pretty much complete trash throughout 90% of the movie. The plot went absolutely nowhere. And yeah, and I feel like anyone who watches this movie will lose several IQ points just because this movie killed them.
Ratatosker just passed out.
I can't blame.
Gonna put his little drunken butt up over here to recover. There we go. Head down in
Poor
case he
thing.
has to puke. You know, you don't want to.
Oof.
Lucky.
Hi, Ori.
Poor thing. Oh, kitty!
It was me for the rest of the show. Okay.
Look at my butthole. Anyway,
Right?
Ron.
And giving it much thought, of all the movies that could deserve Ron's rant, I'm trying desperately hard not to make this turn into one of those because I'm really trying to be fair to this movie. As we've already mentioned, this is literally 2 movies, and 3 if you count the flashback sequence, which is supposed to be there for exposition purposes. It drags on so long, it's almost literally its own movie because I'm watching it. Now, if you're not paying attention throughout the movie, you don't know it's a flashback sequence to give exposition. If you're just watching it and then it comes back and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. That's a flashback. Because I found myself thinking that when it came back to present day after the girl was done telling her story, like, oh yeah, that was a flashback. I had no idea what it had to do with the rest of the movie until I realized, oh yeah, that's a flashback. Now, it kind of, I want to be fair and say that the 3 individual sections of this movie, with the beginning with the clown, was good. The concept for the story with the symbol monkey was not a bad concept. If it had been done on its own as an individual movie, it probably could have been fairly successful, even with the flashback. Or the flashback could have been done as a separate movie and fleshed out so it could be full length. That way you could put these 2 together to have one and then a sequel. But they didn't do that, which kind of makes me wonder if it's one of those situations where the movie starts out with one writer and maybe one director, and then for whatever reason that writer leaves or goes on to another project and they have to get another writer in there. So a second writer takes over and he's like, okay, this is good, but I like my idea and I want to do my idea. And that's why you end up with basically 2 separate movies that have absolutely nothing to do with each other, merged into this conglomerate of the piece of shit that it is. And that's me trying to be really fair, that maybe there was something more going on that we didn't know about that caused them to change the story into the direction that it went. Because the concepts were okay. It's just the execution was flawed. The acting, meh. The sounds already been mentioned, so not really any need to go on that. But I just think that somebody did not watch this movie before they actually released it. It was like, okay, I'm done with the editing. All right, good. Put it out. We're on a time crunch. We're on a schedule. And they just released it as it was without watching it to go, wow, that sucks. We totally could have done better with that. And we need to tighten this part up. We need to take this part out. We need to change that dialogue. No, it's like you finish the first draft of something and then you release it as the final publication without going back and doing your rewrites and your edits or having a beta reader read it, or your test audience to find out what works and what doesn't. It seems like they didn't do any of that stuff. They just released the movie as it was when they were done. They're like, okay, we're out of budget. We need to get this thing out so we can make some money back on it. And I just don't think that overall the movie was that successful because they didn't pay attention to doing the jobs that they should have done. And literally, I think that's all it comes down to, because solid concept, poor execution, people didn't do their jobs. And that's really what I think about this movie.
Okay. Well, as far as the flashback scene goes, I do know that this particular movie is a sequel to a movie that came out before this, the Amityville, The Legacy, I believe. Let me bring my notes back up. Let's see. People Never Dies, yada, 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 Nebraska. Yeah, the Amityville Legacy. I'm wondering if that was just footage that was taken directly from that movie. However, unless it's on the wheel, I'm not planning on watching that one anytime soon, so I really have no way of knowing. However, what I didn't like about this movie, again, that whole clown aspect from the title, first 10 minutes or so, that could have made a very interesting movie in and of itself, but they just kind of juked, and suddenly we have something that reminds me way too much of the Stephen King short story, The Monkey, which was, I could have been rereading that instead of watching this movie. And that story would have been way creepier, way better ideas. But yeah, it's I hope you like theremin synths because they're used a lot in this movie, which annoyed me. And yes, the post sound effects and music guy needed to dial it back so much. I couldn't hear the dialogue as everybody else has mentioned several times. The mic levels are very inconsistent throughout the movie. I found myself shouting, "What?" because I couldn't hear most of what they were saying. The portion where she's at the library researching everything and she's watching the newscast where the priest and the policeman were being interviewed, and the priest just flips out. That was amusing, but still kind of inconsistent. It's like, you cops, you always think it's drugs and everything. I saw with my two eyes. And I was waiting for the Irish accent to slip out, and just like, I'm drunk.
When did we get a British newscaster, by the way, in Lincoln,
Right.
Nebraska?
I don't know, but it does seem plausible.
I was wondering about that.
Same here.
And it was a much better news studio than we actually have. So,
but yeah, it definitely is. But the flashback part, it's just weird, possibly Italian. I was thinking, yeah.
they're actually they cut that out of Amityville Toy Box, which was also Legacy, and that is on the wheel. So we might actually get to watch the prelude where the whole family gets together and the flashbacks happen, actually.
I came back to the show prematurely. So, and I don't know, I think they knew they were just kind of slapdashing this thing together because the movie just ends. I mean, the original title was mentioned when she was talking to that survivor of the previous movie. But no, you don't understand. Evil never dies. Ooh, she said the thing. But then she just takes a shotgun to the monkey, and everything's fine.
This house is blessed. Boom.
Boom. This is my boomstick. But
You're cleansed. That's what.
Right.
There are many like it, but this one's mine.
Yeah, and then we're treated to roughly 10 minutes of the slowest credits crawl ever just to pad things out. Hermigerd. So,
Well,
oh my god.
And the evil toy guy coming, like suddenly he's evil. Like before he was just clueless, and now he's like, I'm just going to walk right into this house and put together the little pieces of the monkey, including the duct taped section of it.
Right. I didn't really catch on to that because in the previous scenes, especially when she calls him back and asks about that particular monkey, you couldn't hear him. I mean, I didn't really think to try to put on the closed captions, but I don't think any of us did.
No.
But I couldn't make out what they were talking about until, like, the guy who was running the music pod just kind of pods out and you catch the last part of it and you're just saying, what did they say? I don't understand.
Where is this from? An estate sale. Do you know where this estate was? I don't know. Oh, it was from the Ramses. Oh, or you mean the people who all killed their family? I don't have time for this. Bye.
Yeah, the
That
dude
was what
that
it was
ran
like,
the
guys.
toy shop, I don't know if he was just acting it that way, but his demeanor was such that he just couldn't be asked to do anything. It's like he seemed so annoyed with everything, and just I don't know if he was supposed to be that way or what, but there was no lead up to maybe explain that he was already possessed by the monkey, which is why he went in to gather the parts and put it back together, or what, just so we could have another sequel with the symbol monkey possessing other people. I don't know, but I mean, James, you mentioned about the synth sounds, and oh my god, how long can you hold the same fucking chord before it's just like I want to rip my brain out of my head because of this noise that just will not stop. And it lent to the entire slow pacing of the movie. And seriously, it's not the flashy sequences that would have caused me to have a seizure. It's the fucking soundtrack.
I am frustrated into having a seizure.
Like the anxiety is just like,
Ron,
shut up.
For me, it was the
Ron,
overbearing
you just
bird sounds.
What's that, KS?
Ron, if you just jinxed us with a sequel to this damn movie, me and you were gonna have issues.
It did make a good commercial though for the toy shop, because with the exception of that monkey, everything there was, like He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, superhero dolls, and that's what they actually carry. So every time they would go to the shop, they're like basically using a commercial for the shop, and then they go to cutscene to that guy's off having a coffee break real quick while he lets us film at his cash register, and then we go back to it. But I do want to go check out the store now. I've friended them on Facebook, and I'm like, ooh, I really want to go visit there because you have some pretty damn cool shit.
Oh yeah.
I'll just avoid the monkey if you happen to have. I wonder if they maybe have. I wanted to ask them, but they don't seem to have any references towards being in this movie on their site at all. They're like, we do not acknowledge being part of this.
Can you blame them?
They have a karaoke video somewhere, but they don't have anything like listing this movie whatsoever. But it would be interesting if they had like the monkey on a wall somewhere or something, like in the background.
See,
we'll have to go visit it. Like we should go together.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. Then go to the pub and rehash this movie. Going, oh my god.
I got a toy.
So throughout this thing, I was thinking there's no really any build up to, slow build up to I'm slowly going insane because of this object. I'm thinking what could have helped was, having a shot not just of the monkey's face or just the monkey itself. What it could have done was just started like chiming the symbols together by itself, and then go back to the guy just kind of looking like he's starting to become unhinged, like that's having an influence on him. Because otherwise, he could have just been, some dick who's, had some undiagnosed narcissistic traits that were starting to come out because, living in Lincoln does that, I guess. I don't know.
But if they showed him having a conversation with the monkey, that would have helped a lot.
Yeah. Or, voices.
Yeah.
Yes, though.
There's a movie. Oh, go ahead.
Outside of him purchasing the monkey, you never really see the guy and the monkey in the same room as each other or the same scene as each other throughout the rest of the movie.
True.
It's always the monkey and her.
There's a movie.
The monkey.
There's a movie that I saw recently, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was like this guy hires somebody to watch his like sister or niece who lives out on an island, and in order to stay with her because she's scared of people, they have to like wrap him up in like a chain straitjacket or something, or in a chain jacket, so that that won't let him access. But she walks around and she carries this doll with her, or a monkey type of thing, that like when it gets close to something evil, it like starts chiming its symbols together. So she like walks around and that was really cool. That kind of a thing could have been used in this, like just like, because he chimes the symbols like twice, and it's like once and they're each like one time. She hears like a clink, and it's the monkey, and then he clinks in her face, but he doesn't like if they would have sped it up and had it be like ah. But yeah, I don't remember what that movie was, but it was really good. I would recommend it to people.
See, little things like that.
Just
it could have helped.
Yeah, just speed up the pacing a smidge. Just
more than a smidge.
Well, speed up the
really
pacing.
funny thing is, even though we're in like 3 different states, we could make a better horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that and somebody competent to work the post-production sound effects and the music.
We got one of those.
If they wanted to do Clownhouse and stay that way, I just buried them, so I can't dig them out right now. But I have those little wind-up clown things that I showed on a different show that are music box clowns that move and dance.
I don't
Just
blame you
saying.
for burying them.
No, I had to move boxes around, so I have a box this big of all of my sidekicks and Ratatosker's bar and stuff over here, and I just had to top them off with like the other toys that hadn't been in there, and they're on the bottom so they don't get jostled around. But I'd have to dig through like Cthulhu and Fergus the cow or the Coo and a bunch of things to get to him. So yeah.
Okay.
But
aside from giving me an idea of a name of a great pub, anyway,
Fergus the Coo Beast.
That too. But we're going to go ahead and pay some bills right now, and when we return, book plugs, ratings, would you recommend it, and 5-star reviews, all coming up. Let's roll the thing.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Reductopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Your King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brick.
You can listen to Retro Reductopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
Welcome back. And we have some books we'd like to talk about, because not only do we watch movies, but we also write stuff. So why don't we talk about, why don't you guys tell me about a couple of them?
Is it up? We have this one that 3 of us are in. Our wonderful Uncle Necro has 2 stories. The Ron man has 1, and I have a poem with my daughter, her art, and my story, and a whole bunch of other stories about different monsters that you either may or may not want to meet. I would love to meet Gronk. I don't want to see Mr. Jones. And whatever came through that portal, I don't want to find out. And then there's this. Again, all of us, except for Josh, have stories in this. And you need to go find out about the games. You need to find out about the angels. You need to find out about the owl. And please, come for the ghosts. And there's so much more. Like, whatever the thing is in the car. And I just really don't want to be at that particular asylum ever.
Yeah.
And all the proceeds go to the Literacy Foundation. Please help people read.
Reading
what
good.
What were you going to say, Del?
I am lagging, and I was going to bring up the pro literacy thing. So you got it. I was just behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we've come to the time of the night now where we talk about what we're going to rate this thing and whether or not we're going to recommend it. So, let's kick it off with Del here. What would you rate this thing?
He's still not doing good. Yeah, I was trying to give it some kudos for some of the references it tried to make. I did enjoy seeing some of Lincoln in it, although it was a little confusing. Like, I really wanted to like this movie. I really, really did, for the scenery and from some other stuff. But the sound issues alone and the really confusing things just kept knocking points off of everything that I was giving it. So, like, I would potentially recommend this to like Maddie, or one of my nephews, Mia, just to as a shit movie. But it's something like, oh, if you just want to watch a kind of funny shit movie, here's a good, well, not really good shit movie, but I'm going to give it like a 2.5. And those, I would only recommend it to people by letting them know that like you're not going to enjoy it at all. That's
Okay.
that's what Dell has to say. And Ratatosker just is trying not to puke. So
Yeah.
that's how we
As
cope.
all. But aren't we all? Anyway, Friday, what would you give this for a rating? 2 out of 10? Fair enough. And would you recommend it?
Only to people who want to mark off every mark on the Amityville horror movie list.
Which apparently we're trying to do here.
Oh no, there are so many.
Yeah, there could be another season, but let's wait for that.
Okay, there could be like 4 years.
Yeah, right.
I know. Chaos, what would you rate it?
I would rate it probably about a 2.
Damn it, Chaos.
Okay.
And I would rate. Now, here's my thing. I have to technically give it 2 ratings. The 2 is for the first 10 minutes. The rest of it's a goose egg. I would recommend it on the stance that whoever I recommend it to turns off the movie at about the 12-minute mark.
Fair.
They are not allowed to watch anything after the 12-minute mark.
So it makes a decent short,
Mm-hmm.
but unfortunately
Yeah.
it's 75 minutes. Okay. Would you recommend it?
That's what he just said.
As
He
I
would have.
said, on
They
the
stopped it there.
Only
Beyond that, though?
no.
No?
If they wanted to watch the whole movie, I can't recommend it. No.
Okay. And in case anybody's wondering, yes, I am listening. I just wanted to find out, if anyway. I'm old. Anyway, Ron, what would you rate this?
Up to this point in our illustrious history of Tomb of the Terrible that I have participated in, the only movie that I have ever given a 1 so far was Prey. I am hard pressed to give this movie anything higher than a 1, but I will give it a 2 strictly for the reason that I do feel like the individual concepts of the different parts of the movies were strong concepts, poorly executed, could have been better. The only thing that makes this movie a little bit better than Prey was the fact that there was action. Stuff did happen in the movie, and nothing really happened in Prey, which is why it got such a low score. That being said, and I know it's probably going to cause our marquee to pop up. Trigger warning on this, which was not there when I started watching the movie, that there are some depictions of SA, which I'm not going to spell out for you, and some domestic violence. They're not graphic per se, but they are definitely not implied either. They are shown, just not graphically. So if that is a triggering thing for some people, then no, I would not recommend this movie, because those scenes weren't even well done. There could have been lead up for them to make them more plausible and believable. If there was a slow descent of the guy going insane, which would cause him to do this, then yeah, I think that it could have been better. But no, they just were sort of kind of happened out of the blue, and you sort of have to take it for granted that that's what was happening, that he was sinking into insanity, and that's what was causing it. So I don't recommend this movie, and I'm not going to recommend this movie, and especially not going to recommend it to people if they need trigger warnings like that, which are non-existent.
Okay. As far as I go, I'm actually giving this a 4 out of 10, mainly because I got to show loyalty to my fellow Nebraska creative types, no matter how bad it is. And this guy, again, he's been making movies since 2007, and he's made over 100 now. And yes, if any of the others are like this one, it kind of shows. However, I kind of enjoyed it on kind of a wow, this is just insane after giving myself okay 2 and no shares. Okay, fair enough there. But I kind of had to I don't know what the equivalent of psychologically giving myself a lobotomy is without physically doing it. But once you get in that mindset, it gets better. You know, you can enjoy it on a certain insane level.
I can help.
Okay.
Why is it she just has like the random just pulls it out of nowhere? Okay, here you go.
I keep my ice pick between my books, don't you? I mean, couch machete over here.
Have you been to Lincoln? Come on.
You just were in this movie.
I have not been to Lincoln. I don't think I've ever been to Nebraska, period.
Well, come on down.
We've got Runzas. But would I recommend this? Sure, if you dig cheaply slapped together Amityville cash grabs, which it's the official Amityville movies are not my favorite to begin with. So I would not be the target audience. So with that thought in mind, we're going to dredge up the 5-star reviews. It's going to be a bit different. The only ones that there was only one on Amazon that I could find that actually goes into a bit of detail. However, Dell has one that we can complement this with. But this one comes from Tim O'Donnell, the Celtic critic. 5-star, an evil painting, a killer clown, a murderous monkey plaything, and that's just the beginning. I got to tell you, this guy overuses the exclamation point in this, and he goes on and on, but most of that is just recapping the movie. The part that I'm going to read is, the film is short, but long enough to relay the great story to us, intense, and as bloody as an emergency room and as scary as Hades. It's well worth the money, more than worth your time to watch, and you can watch it now on Amazon Prime Video. Well, Tim, I hope you cashed that endorsement check, and it was good for you.
Yeah, Tom Dog came up with a great term during our last show, which was the incision hickey, which was the somebody bit somebody's neck and they got an incision hickey because it was like a long gash, and that was what he called it. And the one girl did get an incision hickey from the gunshot in the very beginning, in the first part of the clown part of the movie. But that was the only bloody thing I can remember, and those weren't blood splatter. It was just like effects of 3 people getting dead.
Right. Even those were kind of
it was latex
cottage cheese.
Yeah, So I'm trying to figure out where he's like, it's bloodier than Hades. I'm like, no, and no, there's. And then she looked like she had like mercurochrome on her face with the bruise.
Also, you've been to Hades? How do you know how much blood is there?
I have a condo in Hades.
It was bloodier than an operation room, scarier than Hades.
Oh, well.
Oh, scary.
It wasn't nearly as scary as Hades. That's why my daughter and I have like a vacation house we go and hang out at every now and then. It's future investment for when we pass. We want to make sure that we're hitting the right place for us.
So
I guess if it's an emergency room full of COVID patients. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
What do you got for us?
All right. Well, we had Sam Panico join us before, and he is going to try to hop in at least once more during this Amityville thing, because he has watched pretty much all of them and many, many, many other movies as well, both good and bad. And he has a 5-star review. However, it's on IMDb, so that's out of 10. He is B and S about movies. Yes. In 2017, more than one Amityville movie came out. There's Amityville Prison, Amityville The Awakening, Amityville The Final Chapter, and this movie, which was originally called Amityville Evil Never Dies, and Amityville Toy Box. It's a sequel to 2016's The Amityville Legacy, a movie that features a haunted symbol-playing monkey causing all the terror. If you look close enough, you can also see Peter Summers, the newscaster who also appears in Ouija Geist, Ghoul and Meat Hook Massacre 4, so maybe there's a shared universe of direct-to-streaming movies on its way. If you've come this far into the world of Amityville, you know that this isn't going to be a rom-com. No. No matter what that house or whatever was in that house is going to change people and change them good or bad. You know what I mean. The draw for this is probably seeing Mark Patton, the star of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, whose story was the basis for Scream Queen, and Helen Udy, the original My Bloody Valentine and plenty of The Wrong cable movies, as well as the holiday film A Husband for Christmas. Let that sink in. Dustin Ferguson, as mentioned before, has been making and remaking horror movies since 2007 with titles like Nemesis 5, The New Model, Silent Night, Bloody Night 2 Revival, a remake of Die, Sister, Die, Camp Blood 4 and 5, plus the upcoming Amityville in the Hood, The Time Has Come, right? And a remake of Umberto Lenzi's Ghost House. He rates this much higher than last week, which said that suicide was preferable or induces suicide or suicide inducing. That was what last week's was. That was a 1 out of 10. So he considers this, as far as the Amityville schlock goes, to be much better than what we watched last week. And I'll give him that. I don't think I'd give it a 5 though, but I think he upgraded it for actually having some talent in it, whether they were really talented or not. They were in other movies that were good and somehow got stuck into it. So, yeah.
Wow. That is quite enlightening, especially since Ouija Geist is actually one of the movies on my hard drive right now.
Well,
so I'm more curious.
You're going to have to go back and watch it and see if you can see him.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so
then,
that thought in mind, speaking of which, we're going to find out what Amityville knockoff we're going to be watching next time. So let's bring up the wheel and give it a good spin.
Okay. Are we all ready? 3, 2, 1. Amityville Karen. I have no idea what this movie's about, but it cracks me up, so I wanted to see this one. So, next week, everybody, we're going to be watching Amityville Karen.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I want to speak to your manager.
Excuse me, could I please speak with Beelzebub? Because you, Lesser Demon, are just not haunting this place right. The blood on the walls is not dripping in a they're all even. You're supposed to be uneven. It makes it scary. Come on, Jesus.
This haunting is lame.
Apparently, the neighbor from this movie's going to be in that one.
So
what's her name? Karen?
Yeah.
Stephen? Her name Karen?
Yeah, so this movie is once again Tubi.
On Tubi, of course it is. Del, where can we find you?
All right, to find me, you're going to go to Facebook and you're going to go and look up Carrie, Kari Sanders. If you see this, that is me judging you, and that is me. All of my information is listed there. You can find my author page. You can find all of my Owlite stuff. You can find my stuff on my Tuesday night show that I'm with on the Dorkening Splash pages. This week we're going to have John Dell on as a guest, and yeah, that pretty much wraps me up. That's me all over the place.
Cool. Friday, where can we find you?
I'm hiding in the shadows in the closet, waiting to catch you while you're sleeping.
Cool.
She is the beast under your bed, in your closet, in your head.
That's Gronk.
Wow.
Yes.
Chaos, where can we find you?
In the closet with the rest of the ventriloquist dummies, getting a leg up on them.
I see.
He has his emotional support leg. He had to give his dad a hug because the movie was so bad.
James is going to do some gymnastics. There we go.
Woo!
I need to get you an Owlite sticker for that.
This is a literal support leg.
Hold me, emotional support sloth.
Mine is held together.
Oh, we got a shirt idea. We got a shirt idea. Hold me, emotional support sloth. Ron, where can we find you?
Oh man. You can find me on Facebook under my author page, Ronald W Gillespie Jr. -author. I am currently trying to finish up my next book, which will be a novel called The Last Entry of Grant Gilson. Just broke the 31,000 word mark. I am hoping to have it finished up by the end of November so I can have it out for publication by February. So I plan on making a lot more updates to the author page in that time. And outside of that, you can also find me on TikTok under @WolfDojo. I am a martial artist by trade. If you're into that sort of thing, I sometimes make martial arts content for TikTok, so you can find me there. And if all else fails, then find Jenny, and she can get you in touch with me because she is everybody on Owlite.
All right, cool. And I am your humble servant, UncleNecRo, back for the indefinite future. You can find me on Facebook and the various places in the interwebs. Twitter, currently known as X, Instagram, and let's see. Since my brain quit, I'm just going to say, I'm a writer. Okay. Read my stuff.
Good enough.
Ooh,
So,
I have proof. Do I need to show them proof?
yeah, we just did that.
Well, I can show proof.
See, James,
know-
now you...
See, James, what?
I think it's safe now.
Yes.
I said, see, James, now you can make a case for being an author.
Oh, I have one for you too.
I love that story.
Jenny's
I do
just
too.
all over this shit, man.
I know. That's one of
It's
my
just
favorite
like-
stories I've written.
Only okay. So after this movie, what those promos really need are really obnoxious theremin synths and bird sounds.
Oh, you want to hear an obnoxious one? I have an obnoxious one for you.
No,
This
that wasn't
song gets
nearly
more-
as annoying.
Say what?
It wasn't nearly as annoying as the movie.
Now try
Yeah,
harder.
I can try harder. It's just
Okay.
you guys want me to try harder.
Okay.
If you want, I can rip the sound directly from the movie and send it to you.
It will haunt your nightmares. Anyway, until
right.
next time, just remember to spay and neuter your friends and seek help.
You're still here.
There is no help for us.
I said get out. What the hell? The movie's over. Go home. Get out of here. They're gonna have another sequel. I don't want that.